Hey guys, Mr. C, silverfox. You meet this stunner. You think she is absolutely exceptional, super feminine, drop dead gorgeous, things are going great. You can tell that things are on, and when you go to take her back to your place, you just know that things are escalating and you know where this is going to go. And then you find out that she's either married or in a relationship with another guy. And possibly you even find this out earlier in. Maybe you're talking to her on Instagram and you see photos of her with another guy. Or maybe you go out and it just comes up in conversation as you're getting to know her and things are escalating. So what should you do? Well, in my own opinion, if you meet a girl and when you first meet her, well, first I want to tell you why I have this opinion. I've kind of lived both sides of this. When I was younger, I would never be with a girl if I thought she was with somebody else. Maybe the last 4 years, I started exploring things in quite different ways when I started doing a lot of day game and doing a lot of dating. And maybe about 4 times I met somebody that I knew was married. And I didn't know the guy. I'd never met him, and so in that moment I justified it to myself and said, well, here's this woman, she's been with this guy 5 years or whatever it is, she's very unhappy and unsatisfied either sexually or in general, and here I am taking care of a need that she's having to live with it being unmet. The first time I remember meeting a girl in airport, and we started talking. And I asked her, when was the last time that you'd had just a mind-blowing orgasm? And she said, well, to be honest, like 3 or 4 years. So my husband just doesn't know what he's doing in that area. And for me in that moment, I was shocked. She was beautiful. And in that moment, I thought, oh, okay, let's take care of this. I don't think you should go without that. And we had an incredible time. But I realized after doing that several times with different women, I began to realize, I mean, not only is there the very logical problem that if you're living in Colombia and you're doing that with married women, probably at some point that are stunning and young, at some point you're gonna meet a woman that's actually married to like a narco or some official, and you're gonna have some physical problems. You're not gonna be able to walk properly or something. So there is a safety issue to it, but beyond that, I began to realize that it actually transformed the way that I thought about women. I began to realize that I thought all women were like that. And so if I was interacting with a woman and I knew she was with somebody, it didn't make any difference to me because I knew what I thought women were like. And if I was with a woman that I thought, I'd like to become a little bit more serious with this girl, like when I met Alexa, it was something that I couldn't get out of my mind, the assumption that all women are just, one evening away from doing that. They're just one approach away from having sex with some other guy. And that's just not true. It's something that I began to believe just because I convinced myself of it by my lifestyle, but it is entirely not true. I would say if I had to guess, probably 80 or 90% of women would never cheat, even if they're unhappy in their relationship. And really the percent is irrelevant. Maybe it's 50 or 60%. It's a significant portion. And the women that you should want to be around are the good ones that aren't that type of woman. The same as your friends or your business relationships. They should be people that don't screw people over. They're good people. Now, why else do I say that? I mean, there's the safety issue, and there's the issue that you transform the way that you think around women. There's also the issue of what you communicate to women. If you see a woman on Instagram and she's with a guy and you're hitting her up and trying to get her out, you communicate to her that you're very desperate and needy and you're very disrespectful. When I was doing a lot of day game, I actually upped the ante just because I liked the adrenaline. And I would hit on girls that were on dates. So if I was at a coffee shop or with my buddies at a restaurant or something, and a girl was on a date and I thought she was really hot, and then the guy went to the bathroom, I would go over and start talking to her in the 2 or 3 minutes that I had. And I would say, hey, look, I think you're really beautiful. I want to take you out some other time. And from an efficiency point of view, that usually worked. I would get, I maybe did that 10 or 15 times. Again, a very dangerous thing to be doing in Colombia, because at some point you're going to do that and the guy's going to see what happened, and it's not going to be the type of guy that is going to take that sitting down. But it was a huge adrenaline rush. But again, it began to transform my mind around what I thought about women. I again assumed that all women would give their numbers to a guy. And I began to assume that all guys were doing that. So if I was on a date with a girl and I go to the bathroom, I would just assume obviously that happened when I came back. And then I began asking that to women that I was with just out of curiosity. And I actually discovered that it never, ever, ever happens to women. So it's all these irrational ways of thinking began to filter into my mind just because I was living in a way that wasn't incongruent with, or that was incongruent with my own values. I wasn't living with congruency. I wasn't living according to my own values and morals and ethics. And when you do that, you're just guaranteed to run into trouble. You're not going to be happy. And so I changed that. And now I would never do that again. If I knew that, if I was single and I knew that a girl was with somebody, I would never hit on that girl. Whether for now or to try and set it up for in the future when she breaks up with him or whatever, I would never do that. Just live on a much higher plane than those types of guys. And I think the respect that you have for yourself, demanding a woman that is the type of woman that is, you know, I only want to be around the type of woman that wouldn't do that to a guy. So why would I go out and try and find the type of woman that is cool with doing that to a guy? You're just not going to be happy with the girls that you're dating with. And what we teach in Upper Tier is you should be filtering the girls that you're dating, not just sleeping with the ones that you get the opportunity to. So there you have it. I would highly suggest, if you currently spend time with married women or women that are dating other guys, stop. And in the future, do not start that kind of practice. If you meet a girl and she says that she's with somebody in the initial approach, this is the only exception. A lot of times girls will say that just because they're scared in the moment. If you're doing day game and you're talking to a girl and she's shocked because she's in a mall and she was looking at shoes and all of a sudden you're talking to her, a lot of girls in that moment will say, I have a boyfriend, but she doesn't have a boyfriend. In that scenario, and if the connection was strong and I really liked her, and if I was single, I would still push a little bit and say, okay, well, give me your number, whatever. And then I would start talking, and then I would confirm a little bit in some other way if she was single or not. And if she was actually with a guy, I would just say, well, you know what? I just want you to know that I really think you do look exceptional, and he's a lucky guy, blah, 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 and just move on. It's just not worth the drama. So there you have it.